Life sure goes by fast, doesn't it, folks? I was reminded of that yesterday when I'd gotten in from a bike ride and wanted to check out the status of the hurricane out in Miami, out in Florida, and turned on the TV, and close to that channel was another channel. I noticed that a movie had started, City Slickers with Billy Crystal, and I thought to myself, boy, that's just at the beginning of that movie, and I sure would like to hear that little speech he gives to the kids. And I'm going to go ahead and tape it again. I taped it before because it was really quite entertaining, and you can't help but wonder, you know, why didn't someone tell this to us early on in life? And of course you can see the kids just scratching their head, not making any sense out of it. Indeed, you got to kind of experience it to appreciate it. And of course he didn't paint a very good picture for us as we age, and he starts off, you know, being a teenager in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. And it's only about a minute long, but it's hilarious. I'll put a link down below in the description box. I might even upload a clip and preference this video with that, because it really does make you think. And it makes me think of something that was credited to Einstein. And he had a theory of doubling decades, supposedly, that each decade went by twice as fast as the previous decade. When I heard that many years ago, I pushed a pencil to it just to see what that would come out to be. And I realized the first decade that's 10 years, the next decade is 5 years. It goes by twice as fast, so that's 15 years in the first 20 years. And then I pushed it on out, and my God, by the time you get to 60, you haven't even made it up to 20 yet, from 15 to 20. In other words, we haven't gone another 5 years in about a 40-year period of time. In fact, you can push it out to up to, I did it this morning all the way up to 240 years. I still hadn't made it up to another 5 years. And of course, the point is, if you know anything about numbers, and when you keep dividing by 2 or multiplying by 2, whatever, you see those numbers really change big time when you get so far into it, and that's what happens with this. But it does put things in perspective. Time does go by real fast, but we don't have to age as most people do, and how Billy Crystal pointed out that in our 40s we grow a pot belly and another chin. In fact, it's one of the first things I look at when I see people is I'll look at their midsection, and I'll make sure and look at their neck area, see if they got any kind of jowls. And what you'll find many times are the people who you might think look young because they don't have any wrinkles in their face. It's because they got so much fat in there, and you can tell because they got this big old double chin. You got a bunch of fat everywhere, so it stretches the skin out. That's why they even use that to get rid of wrinkles. We'll shoot some fat in there, or whatever substance they like to use. So it's very deceptive when you look around to see what you think healthy is from a normal person. Based on the averages, you know, by the time you're 50 and 60 and 70, you're having operation after operation, and you just think it's normal because it's happening to everyone you know. Again, this doesn't have to be. We don't understand how to live, so we don't end up living properly. And time is always going to be relative. Remember, there's 3 types of ages, basically. You got that chronological age, how many years are you? You got the biological age, that's huge, my friends. There are a dozen or so biomarkers that determine our biological age, and that changes every time we wake up and put more things in us. And then we have the psychological age. And you can stay a kid at heart, mentally, emotionally, and physically on all these levels. And of course, you can't separate anything from one another because we are all one. Communally, we are connected to everything. Spiritually, the oneness of everything, the connectedness of everything. And you realize that when you build a better body. Because every culture recognizes these hierarchies, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, whatever you want to call it. And many people focus on the top of that pyramid thinking that's number one, but not realizing the power of the base. That's so huge. That's why there are references in the Bible that say when you destroy the temple, you'll be destroyed. Well, the body is the temple. When you defile the temple, you'll be destroyed. Something along those lines. And I heard that from Reverend George Malcolmus when I heard him talk, and he said, I was a Baptist preacher for 25 years. And I was reading the Bible, I was going through the Bible, but the Bible wasn't going through me. I didn't understand things until I experienced it. That's why fasting is so profound. That's why you have to do it. To see the type of transformation you can go through. A solid food vacation, my friends, is so powerful at cleaning out the temple so that you can get reconnected and become the best that you can be on all of these levels. That's what happened to me when I finally went the distance. It took me 3 months to stop eliminating garbage. That's how you know you've gone long enough. Now, it's virtually impossible to get all that fiber out, and you're going to still have that come out, but when you see the fiber come out, you know what it is. If you capture it and look at it, you can tell a difference between good stuff coming out and bad stuff coming out. And the sure test is do a water enema. When you get close to the end, you can do water enemas and nothing comes out with it. That's how you know you've finally gone the distance. Now, a lot of people don't go long enough. A lot of people never do certain things that are actually required for them to see results. So you might have had experience doing this, but if you're still thick in this area, then there's a real good chance that you might have had to do something a little extra, like maybe a colonic. And I've seen that work with a small percentage of people. Now, a lot of people might do this and say, well, I didn't need to do a colonic, so therefore don't do it. Well, that's not good advice, because if you don't start seeing old stuff coming out of you by a certain time on a solid food vacation, on water or juices. Now, on water, it might not happen. And that's because we have two different things going on here. On a water fast, you turn your body into an eating machine. Autolysis kicks in, ketosis kicks in. The body transforms into a whole different thing, and that's why it's better on certain levels. But then on a solid food vacation with juices, it's different, because now you're turning your body into a cleaning machine, which I like better because now you can see the proof of the old stuff coming out. And a lot of you don't capture it and you don't know it's old or not. I remember coaching a woman a long time ago. She was like at day 50 something. And I knew she had to have it in her because she was a big woman. She was over 200 pounds. And there's just no way she couldn't have had that stuff in her. She said, oh, I'm just getting regular stuff out. And I finally convinced her to capture some of it. She got all excited, called me back. She said, you're right, it was there. It was just covered up all the other stuff. So I highly encourage people, if you're going to do this and if you're uncertain whether or not you've gone the distance, start capturing what comes out of you. And you'll notice the fiber stuff isn't that bad. It doesn't even have an odor to it. But if what's coming out of you stinks of high heaven, and it's just not fiber, you can tell a difference. Again, I've documented all 1,200 days except for the first week of this when things came out of me. And now when I go on a solid food vacation on juices, I don't have anything coming out of me except a little bit of that fiber. That's all that comes out of me. I don't have any old stuff in me anymore. So if I go on a solid food vacation, I'm not going to lose any weight to speak of, maybe a pound, by cleaning everything out completely. And that's at the most. So the best motivation, I'm telling you, if you want to do this and get excited, capture what comes out of you. Take a good look at what comes out of you. Don't put anything in with it to see if it will come out by itself. If you don't start seeing stuff come out of you, you might need to do a colonic. Again, I coached a lot of people where they were big, and some of them didn't think stuff was coming out of them, and they looked at it, and sure enough it was. And others, we knew things weren't happening. We just knew it wasn't happening. And they started doing colonics, and they saw a massive amount of stuff come out, because our colons, our intestines could be twisted and bent out of shape in so many ways. There's a lot of ways it can keep things from completely clearing out just by taking a solid food vacation. So remember, we're all unique. We've all been damaged uniquely. The art of healing or solving problems that are 100% within control is truly an art. And you play the role. Quick calling me up and saying, what do I do? You figure it out. Why are you asking me? You know you better than me. Oh, you're hoping that maybe I've seen this before and I can save you some time? Well, maybe. But the chances are it's more complicated. And then I have to know everything you're doing. You have to keep track of everything you're doing so you can make some sense out of this. That's the key right there. So if you know how to do this the right way, if you do this and you see that serpent come out of you, and then you pay attention to how you eat afterwards, you won't grow that pot belly that Billy Crystal talks about in the City Slickers. You won't have that double chin. Your wrinkles are going to show up more. If you make the mistake like I did and use a little bit of sunscreen, I only used it on 2 spots, and you can probably tell on this camera, I have 2 brown spots right here. It's the only place I put sunscreen except on my nose. Thinking, oh, I don't want to get those crow's feet over here. because I used to get a lot of sun when I played tennis. Sunscreen right there. It got these 2 bad spots because of that. And I've noticed that before. I've had a mole come out in that area. Something else I noticed is I used to have a lot of moles on my back. Now I don't have any moles at all. I had a couple start flaking off on me in the last couple of years, and it's amazing that all this sunshine hasn't turned one of these moles into some sort of cancerous skin condition. If I would have went to a dermatologist a couple years ago when I had one of these 2 or 3 moles that flaked off on me, it grew first. If I would have went there, they probably said, oh my God, it's cancerous, we better do all this treatment. Especially the chemo, because we make a lot of money on that chemo, don't we, guys? I don't know if they use chemo on skin cancer. I'm sure they don't. They just snip it off, but you never know. I haven't looked into that one in a while to see how far they'll go with torturing you and making money from you. Anyway, again, folks, we don't have to age like everyone else. We don't have to have these procedures, as Billy Crystal liked to refer to them, our first operations. We don't have to end up having a stroke and having someone take care of us. Wearing a diaper, being paralyzed, that's, you know, remember, half the people, the first symptom of a heart attack is death. Now, what percentage of those other guys end up having a stroke and they spend the rest of their life in a wheelchair wearing diapers? That's not how I want to go out in life. We can control our biomarkers. We can control our psychological age to an extent. We can still be young at heart. We don't have to grow old. And I'm getting ready to do a video here coming up on stretching, just to help us understand that if we don't use it, we'll lose it. I'm going to go through all, actually just 86 of the main joint articulations, as they're called, to help you understand how not to age. In fact, I don't know if I can do this here or not. I probably can't. No, I'm not even going to try. I was thinking I could just go ahead and do another video right now and go right into it and then cut this off and say goodbye to you. But I think the camera needs to be set up differently, and this is not the best time of day to shoot, and I don't think I'm going to do that video outdoors, but we'll see. I sure prefer to do it outdoors. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go ahead and upload that other video. My YouTube downloader right now isn't working. I got to jump through some hoops to use it. I don't know if I want to do that or not. I may just tape it and show it that way, although that probably won't look all that great. Anyway, that's it, folks. You have to understand, when you can realize that you don't want to go where everyone else is going, you don't want to be a failure at living, as most people are when they age because they lack the knowledge of how to live. When you can figure that out and then do something about it, change it, start off with a solid food vacation. Got a playlist down below to help you get started on this. Change your life, interact with your environment the right way. When you can do all of that, my friends, life gets so much better. And everything around you, your friends, your family, everything is in for a treat.